slightly different thing. We finished you can just about see Frank and Weenie in the background. We finished our Maker's Monthly kit, and I thought I'd do a thing I've sort of been planning to do for ages. I had a customer ask me if it was possible to make a vegan needle felted sculpture, and this is something I've tried in the past, but some of the vegan products, some of the non-wool based products, were not great to felt with. I've used the Accolane, I think that's how you pronounce it, which is an acrylic felt, and it's great. However, when I'm making dogs, quite a lot of them, I don't have any sitting about just now, but quite a lot of them have long hair, so I need tops rather than a equivalent of a carded bats. So I thought I would have a look and see if I could get any of these, which massive box of goodies here. So I got some. We're going to see how well it felt, if you can card it up to make your own carded as well, how nice long hair it makes, and then hopefully over the couple of weeks we've got before the next before the next maker's box, I'll hopefully be able to make a little dog. It's the Skye Terrier. I can't remember. You'll have seen on the thumbnail and on the way in the kind of dog I'm planning to make, but we're going to do some experiments and some tests with this fibers that I've purchased and see how they are. They all look amazing. I got them about 2 months ago and I haven't touched them since, so been excited to get started with them. So that is my plan for the day. That's only just a couple of different types of fibers I got. I will look into others if these are no good, but I thought this was a good start. Yeah, so and I see we are actually live. Tobias is in the house. Hello there, and everyone else who has joined. I'm excited to get started with this, so I'm going to let's split the screen, bring that absolutely giant box into screen. And this is from World of Wool. I decided to use a different company today. I use World of Wool quite a lot from my core wool and stuff. I also love the makers, we know that, but today I tried with a different company to see how it was going. And do you know, if you put boxes the right way up, it's easier to get into them. We've got Alicia in the house as well, and Katie. Hello, guys. Right, let's have a look at what I bought. Actually, the box is so giant and noisy. So I did buy a selection. Oh, I apparently bought some needles as well. That is good to know, because I'm always worried about breaking needles. So hit the microphone. So I've got a needle and a giant box that I will keep my vegan stuff in this, so I'll put it to one side. I've also cleared my workspace of all wool products and everything, trying to keep as vegan as possible, trying to not contaminate with wool. There's going to be dog hair in it, but because my dog's hair gets everywhere. But yeah, so we've got, what did I buy? I got one thing of acrylic tops. This is, as I say, it's carded. You know, it looks like, it's not carded, it looks like tops rather than the carded stuff like the Accolane. So I wanted to see what this would be like, and I also, because I knew the Accolane felts fairly well, I thought I could maybe use this as a slightly more expensive core, but this could maybe be a core if the other stuff's not so good. But I also found they have this stuff that's called bio nylon, and it's supposed to be a little more ecologically friendly, which is cool, because that's the one thing I was worried about. I completely I'm cool with, the idea of being vegan is really awesome, but I don't want overly processed plastic products. So I was trying to see what there was. So there's this stuff called bio nylon. So I got a whole range of colors of this. So a bit nervous. We'll start with the acrylic tops though. But yeah, I'm really happy with this color. This is a lovely sand color, and it's really, I've struggled so much to get decent sand colors in wool. So the fact that they're doing it in this non-wool is brilliant. I got it in a white, which is such a pure bright white. I suppose it's easier with with man-made stuff to get proper white. And this oak is a lovely chocolatey colour. And I got a, what do they call this? Steel, which is a very nice grey colour. And Nero, I had to get a black because you always need black and white and then some random colours. But let's start with the acrylic tops, which it feels kind of silk-like, kind of what I expected, I guess. Who have we got in the house? Bridget's here. Hello there, the Fluff Clan. Right, where's the start of this? How can other people do this and they're just like open stuff up and they're like, oh yes, there's the start, no problem, and I'm digging for it. This is super soft. It has a soft sheen to it. Yeah, it feels cottony. It's very nice actually. So let's cut a piece off. Oh, it is harder to cut. These are not my best scissors, but it definitely is a little harder to cut. It almost feels squidgy. I wonder how long. Yeah, it's a really long fiber because I've cut it there, so it's a long fiber. What I'm going to do, the first thing I want to try is how it cards up and then how it felts. So you can card to blend things, but if you just go in crazy directions, you can card to mess up the fibers. This is the way I like carding the best. So just in all sorts of directions, just to quickly make a mess of it. Whoa, I don't know if the camera's picking up that, but yeah, it's quite light and floaty. I'm going to be coughing at this, but yeah, it's very cottony. So that's not, it's sort of dry. I suppose wool has lanolin and stuff in it. It feels quite drying and squeaky. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm not sure I like it yet. Alicia, to me, yes, if you're just using plastic stuff, then that's not great for the environment. Yes, right. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to say that I want to like this. It's a beautiful color and stuff, but with the drying and the squeakiness, it's like a cross between nails down the blackboard and a little bit like not as bad as using like a polystyrene bowl, but it's got that kind of feel. But I'm going to give it a chance. I'll get used to it. I think you'd probably have to use a lot of hand cream to use this stuff. It's really weird. I did not think it would be this sort of dry feeling. But in its defense, I don't know if you can see, it really does seem to be felting down. I don't remember the Accolane. I used it about 3 years ago. I made a beauty blender from Accolane. I don't remember that kind of creeping me out so much. So yeah, it's a bit weird. Diana, hello Pam, this looks interesting. Indeed, definitely something a bit different. I'm not loving this, but it does, oh, in its defense, it does seem to be felting faster than wool. Just want to see how quickly we can get to a nice smooth ball, and then I'll try adding longer bits on it. So if it works, it works. CJ, hello there. It's 8 a.m. in Canada. Nice to be here. Good to see you. Tobias, yes, making a carnivore, even though it's not an obligate carnivore, out of man-made fibre to avoid harming animals seems to belabor the point. Well, actually, I kind of like I kind of like it because the person that contacted me is a vegan, but they have a pet dog and they love it, and you know, I'm totally happy with with sensible vegans and things, and yes, not PETA or something like that. So yes, I think doing your best. Well, we should all be doing our best with what we think of. I mean, I've thought, I love animals. I've thought about it, but I also like where I live in Scotland. Quite a lot of our landscape is actually side of hills and things is actually better suited to having sheep on it than anything else. So it sort of makes the most sense for me. Alicia, you first learned from the stuff inside a pillow. It's so weird. Felt's great, but is plastic, so it was very crunchy and odd to work with. Yeah, I've had teddy bear stuffing before. Lots of people said like pillow stuffing or teddy bear stuffing, and they said it's the best stuff ever. But I found, because those kind of bags of stuffing are very expanded, I found price per weight, actually the core wool was no more expensive, even though people were, oh, well, I'm using this to save money. I think if you have it around, it saves money. Yeah, there's a real weirdness to it. It's felting nicely. I'm pretty sure I could get a smoothness to it. I don't think it. I can feel it. I can feel the fibers crunching on each other. It's almost like it's. Oh, that's an interesting thing, actually. It feels like, if you've got a felting thing that's filled with, I think this is, I can't remember what this is filled with. It's not rice, but it's smaller grains, and the way you feel things sort of crunch over it, that felting mat needs tidied as well. It's fluffy, but if you know what I mean, does that? It's weird. I didn't expect it to be so different. But I wonder if you could make a felting surface. But then again, are we not? If we're felting wool, are we not better with the maker's eco mat and using less? This is the difficult thing. Like I don't want to use tons of plastic either, so I'm not sure. Which I have to look some more into the bio nylon. I looked at it when I bought it, but I've totally forgot now. But that does sound a lot better. But I wanted to try this stuff because I know that acrylic does felt, but this is weird. I am sure the acrylic was not as weird as this. It really feels like you've got a covering of something and there's little grains and such. That is so weird. Yeah, Tobias is saying, so it sounds like the stuffing of fibers for pillows. Yeah, it probably is just a fancy version of that. Again, I'm wondering, it feels like it's felting really quickly, but at the same time, it doesn't seem to be getting very firm. I'm going to have to, I want to sit and felt it for a while to see if we can get something firm that'll hold its shape, because just now, this looks okay and kind of feels okay if you're just holding it, but it would deform, and it sort of holds. Don't know if you can see, it holds its deformity. If that makes sense, which is even worse if you're making something and someone squeezes it or something. You don't want it to hold where it is. Alicia, yeah, you only used it once, the pillow stuffing thing once before, and then you found the makers and never use it. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The lanolin rich core is fantastic. I enjoy that. I enjoy the carded white corridale that I get from World of Wool, and the makers, the snow white bats, which I've been using. I can't remember what they are as well. I love that as well. Most core that's actual that comes from an actual sheep feels really nice. I'm going to try it with a 3-needle tool. Oh, it's definitely a lot more resistance. This is a bit more of a workout, where at this level of needing to stab, it would be so much firmer generally, but it really, I think you could sculpt it fairly quickly. It's interesting. I'm not ruling it out because it's cool to have different variations. It's certainly felting a little easier than I thought it would, in that it's compacting together into a singular piece of material rather than individual strands. But just how weird it is, how you can feel the fibers moving across each other. That is so bad. Well, not bad, but weird. Carol, hello there. How you doing? Tobias, use Corridale for your core. Yes, I like the Corridale. People have said before. I heard people saying for years when I started, and because I couldn't afford to buy tons of everything, so I had a kit that had merino tops in it. So I used merino tops for ages. So I'm used to felt and difficult things, making whole sculptures just with tops. So I know it's possible, and I can. So this is a workout. Okay. This should be like see the calories you're burning doing this. But I'm feeling that in my arm. That is weird. But it is coming together. Um not not the smoothest thing in the world, but not the worst. Bridget, parts of my body hold their deformity. Oh, when you're squished, do you take on a new shape? Okay, you don't like the sound it makes either. I know. I'm sorry. I'll felt way over here so that you all can't hear it. It's weird. I'm getting the feel isn't so bad, but yeah, I don't know if this fabric itself is just drying or even in like the washed, premium wool, there's just that little bit of lanolin left that feels nice on your skin. But this it does feel a little drying and the weird crunchiness. But hey, it's doing its job and we're trying something different. Um how long? I've been doing this for about 15 minutes, and I would expect in 15 minutes with a good core, we would have something fairly firm. At this size, we would have something fairly firm to add fibers onto. This is kind of icking me out a little bit. It's not. It's better. This is better than a polystyrene ball by a long way, but it's not as nice as wool. If that makes sense to you all, there is definitely something different. You would know, like I think I'm the only person that's ever felted blindfolded. But you would know if you were felting blindfolded, or if someone didn't tell you what it was, you would know instantly that this isn't wool. However, it's worked. It's made a ball. Um, it's not very easy. I am not trying to make this look divotty. I'm not trying to make a golf ball here. But I think you can see it definitely wants to be a bit more divotty. It doesn't want to smooth out. I'm going to spend a bit of time trying to make this smoother. Because this is definitely, by this stage, I would be expecting a wool ball to be looking fairly smooth. Sorry, just checking the chat. It scrolled faster than I expected. Oh, Alicia, the makers have some new organic core wool. It's like the lanolin rich, but organic and has no lanolin. Ah, cool. I'll have to check that out too. Tobias, you started the same way using bulk merino until you found out about the different fibers. Love felting alpaca, but llama is almost useless. I've never tried llama. I had camel. Camel was not pleasant, very wiry. Alpaca, I suppose, yeah, alpaca is very different to felt. I love the soapy feel of it, but it's I've only once made an entire sculpture out of alpaca because it's very difficult. It compresses a long way. It's much nicer to top dress with alpaca than it is to make a whole thing, but it's a lovely fiber. Katie, you shouldn't ask me about setting fire to things because I will. Not in the stream. I'll go out somewhere safe. But yes, does it feel warm? Is it a fire risk? It doesn't feel slightly cool, like a kind of cotton or something. It definitely, I don't even want to touch wool. I'm trying to be really good here. Cool, but it picks up your body heat. It it's it feels normal. It doesn't feel either way. But yeah, but is it a fire risk is a really good question. Kind of gonna find out. And the other, yeah, I'll see if it's a fire risk, and I might see if it bakes in the oven, because I really loved doing, and if I can get time, I'm planning on doing again, sort of working with polymer clay and needle felted sculptures, and you could bake it in the oven. So make a small part, bake it in the oven, and the wool was fine. I'm polymer clay bakes at a relatively low temperature, but I might be worried about the fumes that would come off this. Hey, never. It smells of pretty much nothing, which is to be expected. Alicia hasn't felted with llama before either. Alpaca is difficult enough. It is difficult. I do love this soapy feel. It's cool. And it's supposed to be really good for if you're knitting, spinning, or anything, because I believe the alpaca fibers are hollow. So it's like super insulating. It's got its own little bit of trapped air in there. So it's really cool. Oh, I'm going to get this name wrong, but I love it. Yukuti. Just came to this live wondering what the material is, if that's not wool. This, you can see here, is, if you can read it, this is our acrylic tops. We're testing out some vegan fibers. This is the acrylic one first. Yeah, I keep saying cotton, apart from the bizarre crunchiness that feels like this is stuffed with something. It feels very much like a cotton if you've ever felted with cotton. I think it's going to felt down very dense as well. To actually get something firm, it's going to be really tight and dense. It's interesting. Alicia couldn't get pillow stuffing to look good, but used it for core only as it didn't show. Oh, the thing that this I like better with this than pillow stuffing, it might just be the ones that I tried, but the pillow stuffing had such a short fiber length that I found it difficult to felt with, because when you're trying to roll it up into a ball, like if you're rolling this into a ball, because the fibers are long, you can put tension on it, whereas trying to do that with a pillow stuffing, it would have just broken down the middle. The fibers were like 2 centimeters long. It was an absolute nightmare. So I hated it. Everyone's going, yeah, this is the best stuff in the world. I absolutely hated it. Right. I think that should be felted enough to try and see if we can put long hair onto this. So I'm gonna, it's really butch to cut. But anyway, with the acrylic tops, it does work. I can certainly make a figure out of this. It's weird. But yeah, I think any of you who've been with me for long enough, if you've seen me do a kit with the polystyrene balls, you'll see I've never managed to create a shape around the polystyrene balls. I always get annoyed by them and throw them across the room, literally. So, all right, let us try. I'm going to just try and add a small amount of longish hair. Now, I'm just going to felt this in fairly firmly and see how much force it takes to pull off. Any of us who add, it is floaty fibers. So another interesting point that I don't know if we'd be able to find out. Well, it's long fibers, but they are very light and floaty. So I am kind of worried about the idea of breathing them in and stuff. But long fibers, yeah, you'd probably be okay. If these were fine, I would be very worried about it. But yeah, anyone who adds long hair will know you can't 100% felt fibers into your wool and not be able to rip it off again if you're a bit rough with it. So I'm not expecting it to be perfect, but do you know that this isn't feeling too bad? This is really feeling like it is working. I don't know how they do that, because I would expect a man-made fiber wouldn't have the kind of, I think you call it a cuticle in the hair, and that's what locks together when you felt it, so that it locks together. That's actually not a bad fiber. It has, I keep saying, like a kind of silky sheen to it. It's not shiny, But it's not bad as a replacement. I could see it looking lovely on like as a replacement for silky bamboo, that kind of fibers. So it would look nice on like a Maltese dog, which when I started felting, Maltese dogs were the thing. Everybody did that with a super long hair. And now nobody seems to do them anymore. But anyway, so now that has felted in, so you can almost not see where I added that. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I managed to take some of it off, but that is actually felted in more securely than wool does. I have no idea why. Now I want to buy see these like Amazon 20 quid microscopes so I can see what is the structure of that. That is interesting. I'm no weakling and I could only pull off some of the fibers there. So that's good. Okay, we'll put that aside and move on to this is the Bio Nylon. I bought this in a range of colors because this is the one. If it worked, I should have bought one color and seen if it works first of all. But it smells of nothing. It feels nice. It's soft. Nervous, but and it is actually even. This was bright white. I don't think the camera's showing. This was bright white, I thought, but putting it next to this and it's got a slight yellow cast. It seems very light. Let's test the cutting ability. Like this is a proper. Oh, I should have brought up my good scissors, but slightly softer than the. What did we just use? Than the acrylic. Yeah, it's nice. It looks like a much finer fiber. Oh no, leave that out because we're going to try long hair with it as well. All right. Again, it seems, yeah, super long fibers. So that's good. I think it would be relatively okay to spin as well for anyone that spins because it's, I think, my mum did spinning for a while. I think the longer fibers will be a little easier. Tobias is saying alpaca is hard but rewarding for long hair cover. It is lovely, yes. Alicia, Camel was in the Maker's Oh yes, no, Camel was in the Maker's Advent Calendar. I forgot about that. No, I was talking about Camel that I got 13, 14 years ago, and it was wiry and horrible. But yeah, in the Advent Calendar was fine if I remember. Oh, this is nicer. Yeah, this doesn't have that that crispy feeling inside. Yeah, actually, I'm not hating on this stuff. It's I think it's because it's such a thin fiber. It does feel similar to felting cotton, but which is also not animal product. Yeah, but it feels similar to cotton. I think I like this a bit better. It's not as drying. You would be hard pressed to know this one isn't an animal fiber if you didn't know. If you were felting with it, you would wonder what a really fine fibered breed of sheep it was. The fact it's so bright white might be interesting. Tobias just did a quick search on acrylic tops being fireproof or not, and the word is not fireproof. In fact, the opposite is true. Yeah. Okay, so are they fireproof? The opposite. Still going to set fire to them, am I? You know I am. Don't let my mum listen. Scales to buy. Yes, it's not a cuticle in your hair. It's in natural fibers. It's scales. Yes, I knew it was something like that. Yeah, so I wonder what it is in the man-made fiber. Who's going to Google this one? Yeah, how do the man-made fibers felt? Because yes, it is the scales in your hair in hairs that lock together. but how do we make man-made scales? Just clearly a bit of luck that it actually works for felting with. But I can't remember if this was expensive. I don't think it was massively, because I did buy like 6 or 7 of these, so it can't have been horrifically, but it will be a business expense. But I'm not hating this. We'll see how it felts down anyway, but I think this is going to be the way to go. Oh, I was supposed to try and card it. I think it'll card just exactly the same. I know what I'll try and do after this. I'll try and blend some colours to see how it blends. That'll be interesting, rather than carding, rather than mussing up the fibres. But I don't hate this. This is quite pleasant. Slightly drying on my hands, but not as bad. Yukita, am I saying your name right? That's so cool. You should make a video later where you compare different vegan fibers. I think people will be interested. Yes, I had planned for this to be the proper video, not a live video, but I ran out of time, and we'd finished the kits we were doing. I had loads of things I thought of that I could make, but then I thought I am never going to get round to making this video on these fibers that I've had sitting for 2 months. So let's just do it live when I've got people to talk to. Yeah, but I'll look into other types of vegan fibers and see what we come up with. I think it's really cool to try with different fibers, and they've come on such a long way in the past decade or so, obviously. So these are much nicer to felt with. I tried years ago, and I just didn't like the fibers. And I think a lot of them, like, there's recycled plastic bottles and all sorts of things that were so cool, but none of them I could happily felt with. I would use them to top dress. Even like if I was adding long hair, I would make a bowl out of wool, lay the fake fibers, the man made it up fake fibers, they're clearly fibers. But lay the fibers down and then sort of put a staple of the wool so it was sandwiched between. That was the only way I felt sort of comfortable putting long hair on, but even then it would kind of slip off. But this is good. So I'm going to test. Hang on. I'm going to distract myself, but I want to test how the nylon goes into the acrylic. I'm not going to test it on wool, because I want to keep the vegan fibers as vegan-y as I can in a house covered in wool, but I want to keep them separate from everything. But that would be an interesting thing to do at some point. That seems to go in nicely. That's only a few jabs. Not bad, because I didn't spend as long on it. They definitely seem to work together, so that's good news. But let's get on with this. Keep on with this. Yeah, this is pleasant. Softer than wool. It's just like a very fine wool. Yukito Yuki. I used to felt a lot this summer, but oh no, it got a bag full of eggs and bugs and had to toss away many kilos of lamb's wool. Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. I said your name right. Oh, cool. But I can call you Yuki. Okay, I can manage Yuki, I think. Oh, thank you, Alicia. She's done some research. Quote from Soport: acrylic fiber fabrics are made from a synthetic polymer called acrylonitrile, which means that acrylic fibers are a fossil fuel based fibers. Yeah, I thought it would be definitely the acrylic. That's why I only bought the one. I thought I knew acrylic felts because I've done it with the acrylane. I knew it felt, but I didn't want to get loads of it because I knew it's a plastic. It's pretty, it's pretty much a kind of plastic, really. So that's why I got more of the bio nylon, which is probably a fossil fuel as well. But it's supposed to be better. I'll look into it again and find out. But yes, it's a balance, isn't it? I get why people don't want to use animal products, but personally, I'm happy with using wool because I know if we didn't keep sheep for eating, the wool wouldn't be there. But if you have sheep, the wool will be there. They need to be trimmed they need to be shorn. They need to be shorn for like ethical health reasons nowadays. So it's I find it a sustainable, good product to use, but I perfectly understand why some people don't want to use it. So I was looking for alternatives, but I would like the best, so the least bad options, which is a sentence that doesn't make sense, but yeah, the best alternative options. And it's always nice to try different things. You learned the hard way. Should have my storage wool inside a plastic box with an oxygen eater. Like the things that are in shoes and stuff. Yeah, like a silicone bag. But I have actually just started storing. I used to have my wool in like an over the door shoe holder, but I think some of my allergies are due to having so much wool all over the house. So I've started to buy up massive supplies of the sweetie jars and things and boxes. So yeah, all my wool's going to be stored, but I have to find out what an oxygen eater is. That sounds good. But yeah, I'm trying to lift as much wool away from my face as possible. So an even better thing to keep it all segregated in case you get beasties in it. Right. Okay, so I am happier with this for sure. It felt nicer and it compresses as you would expect. It springs back a little bit and it's fairly silent. So that's good. So let's see how it felt to itself. But I'm much happier with this nylon as a felting thing, not going into the ethics of whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's nicer than the acrylic, so that's good news anyway. But yeah, it would be cool to get when I win the lottery. It would be cool to get all the different types of fibers and do sort of a comparison, what all their strengths and weaknesses, what's cool, what's not. I'll have to see, maybe at least get the most popular ones. Nearly did an extra test there by accident. I accidentally jabbed my finger, which I don't do too often. I thought, oh, are we gonna be able to see what happens when we get some of the red stuff on it? But no, not happening, thankfully. Yeah, this does seem to felt nicely onto itself. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I really thought I wasn't going to be super mad keen on these, and it is better than I thought. Yeah, I would say this one doesn't 100% stick on. It doesn't felt on as firmly as the acrylic, so that's interesting to know at least. But any of us who make long hair on our felties know that, yeah, basically you can't really be brushing them or anything. It's not a doll, so I think that's on enough. That goes on well enough. It's fine. Right, let's see if we can blend some colours. See how that works. Because the dog I have in mind that I'm going to be making, I do want some different colours of grey, so it'll be cool to get some. And if you haven't seen it, this gives you a hopeful tutorial on how to card to blend colours. Yeah, these scissors, I think these scissors are rubbish rather than the wool. So here we have some of the black nylon. And some of the grayness, well, steel, this one's called. I'm going to play about with these and see what we think of them. Yeah, these scissors are definitely past their best. I've got my good ones downstairs for making actual good stuff. I need to treat myself to a second pair of good scissors. Bridget, yes, it sounds less dry than the first fibre. Yes, I completely agree. It feels less dry. It felt much nicer. All right. So, okay, if I'm doing wool, this is what I do. So I don't know how it's going to work for this stuff, but basically, you just put. Let's just go with a little bit, just onto the very edge of the carders. That's why I don't need deep carders. You're not using the whole of the brush really. Okay, they don't want to stick so well as wool might. It wants to stick to me and not stick onto the carders. That's interesting. Okay, there we go. So I'm just putting a little layer. I'm having to go further back so it'll actually stick onto the carders, but this will work, I think. So a little bit of the one colour, and then we're going to come on a little bit of the grey. Yeah, actually it's working okay. I want this more black than grey. I just want to get a little bit of light. Yeah, so I just want a sort of light grey. And it's tempting, but don't overload your brushes. It's a lot harder work if you do too much. So that'll do for just now. And took me ages to learn this for myself, but you're not combing across one side of the brush to the other. I'm just brushing the fibers that aren't on the comb, just using the teeth at the very edge of this comb, and there's a movement. You go down and then just flick up so that you're not combing. So the fibers flick up and they don't comb over themselves and get knotted. Or you're trying to. This is very light, so it's actually hard to do. But that starts to just pull the fibers across each other and blends the color. That looks very pretty already. And it lifts the fibers off of one brush and onto the other, and then you just do the process. I think one more time is all that's going to be needed. And once you've carded them like this, they're not going to be the nice tops that you had before, but you can get close. If you're careful lifting it off, and remembering the fibers are going in this direction, so I'm just going to roll it. I don't know if this is how you're supposed to do it. This is just how I do it. And then I can draw it out. And this is just making sure the fibers are all in the one direction, so you've still almost got tops, but not quite. So that's what I do. And you can see I've taken it from black to a lighter color. Now I want to see how does it do for coverage. I think it's going to be pretty good, but let's give that a go. Alicia, oh, I love this. Alicia and Tobias are doing the research for me. This is good. Thank you, guys. I'm loving this. Reading an article on Forbes about bio-nylon. Interesting. It's technically not made from petroleum. Ooh. Instead, it's using a geonomatica engineered microorganisms to determine to derment plant sugars. You've just you picked this up and said Pam's never going to say these words. To derment plant sugars to produce caprolactam and therefore nylon in 100% renewable way. Okay, that's pretty cool. Oh, one thing I'll have to test for next week. I want to know if I can curl this stuff, because if we can get curlies as well, that would be cool. But yeah, that's really interesting. So might be kind of good stuff. It's still processed and stuff, so it's, you know, not necessarily as energy efficient, but sounds interesting. And Tobias researching if acrylic has scales, and it doesn't, but it has small projections which act in a similar way to hair or wool. Guys, we're all learning. I'm loving this. Yuki, what's the giant comb thing called that you're using? This, you can get what's called carding brushes. But this I just got off of eBay and just Googled dog slicker brushes or cat slicker brushes. They're to brush your pets. they're to brush your animals, but it has pretty much the same kind of little teeth. I think you can just about see them. It's pretty much the same teeth as a carding brush, and you can get them much cheaper. So it's a dog slicker brush. Oh, Tobias is a carding expert. You can use curved or arcing movement when carding. Yeah, if you, I have used bigger ones before. As you move up through the teeth, you use a curved motion. Um, you have large wool carders fully loaded. Yeah, you know what you're doing. Yeah, I just go a bit crazy and just decided to try and learn for myself how to card. So yeah, I'm probably doing it all wrong, but it worked. It works. That's how I do it. I don't know how you're supposed to do it. Oh, guys, you've already answered Yuki on the carders. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's just a super for small quantities. If you're an expert like Tobias, you can get bigger ones, and that's takes more skill to use. Or if you're blending lots and lots of fibers, you get like drum carding machines that have like circles with like drums with strips of this material on it, and you spin a handle and they all spin together and do it automatically, which looks awesome, but they are so expensive. If somebody's mechanically minded, doing something like that would definitely make you plenty of money because they're not massively difficult if you know what you're doing. Do you know? Okay, I'm slightly making an eyeball, but I'm not unhappy with how that works. Right, what I'm going to do. Still got 10 minutes left. So as I said, this is going to be a dog over a couple of weeks probably, and I am happy to use the bio nylon. Out of the two, I'm happy with that. So we're going to see how this works to make a little dog armature. So we'll see. We'll just get a start, obviously. Um, I would love to be able to compare and say if it felt quicker or slower than regular wool, but I don't know because I don't often pay attention. But it's, I'm just sitting watching telly or something when I'm felting a dog. But yeah, I'm sure it's a Skye Terrier I'm making, and they have much longer bodies and little stumpy legs. So this is just a pipe cleaner I've cut in half, making it into two ends, with the shorter for the legs, longer for the body. Put them together to make an H, and then twist. That's how I make my ever so complicated armatures. Right, then we're going to cut off some of this fella and see how this goes. So I'm going to be intrigued to how it felts down, how it holds, how it feels, how it annoys me. But it wraps fairly nicely. It does kind of want to stick to your fingers a lot more, which is weird. It's just because it's so light, I think. But it's not the end of the world. It's manageable. And I think this is a 40 twisting, a 38 or a 40. It's a fairly fine felting needle, so I'm not being too butch with it. So it felts fairly well. I'm not having to hit it with something scary. Tobias, try looking for videos on blending boards. I think I've seen stuff many years ago. Ashfords have them. It's fascinating. Oh, all the stuff with actual proper wool things is really fascinating. Oh, thanks for the link, Alicia, for carding brushes. They're such a useful thing to have because, like I say, I didn't want to buy all different shades of grey fibre, so you can just do that, and you can, like, I've got this colour. If I wanted it slightly lighter, I can blend in some more lights. I can blend in some white, and also you've got a variation. It's not just a solid colour, so it looks more natural. So it's a super way to get a lot more colours for the colours that you've got, without having to spend a fortune on buying all the colours. But if you've been felting for a while, you probably own all the colours if you're anything like me. You could, I'm not very good at wrapping wire. Some people can do that really neatly, and I think this would wrap fairly neatly. It's not striking me as particularly, sorry for hitting the microphone. It's not striking me as particularly annoying. It's wrapping fine. It does, it sticks to itself fairly well to be able to wrap without it slipping everywhere. So yeah, I think if you gave it to someone, they would know it wasn't their usual wool, but they wouldn't be like, "What is this witchcraft? This is incorrect." So it's not horrific. But yes, I just want to see how it's going to work to make a dog's body. So all I've done is wrapped that H a little fatter, and oh, fibres are getting up my nose. A little fatter in the body and skinnier on the legs. I think the dog will probably end up having grey legs if this works. But I just wanted to start to do a whole thing in white first of all, so we get a chance to see what this is like. Right, let's give it a go. Move everything out of the way so you can see. Tobias, you card to blend for facial colours and weird shades. Yeah, absolutely. It's great to get the things that people just can't dye or just don't dye. Facial colours, especially. I mean, I know companies are doing better. Oh, there we go. We've got a bit of red on it. Fantastic. I accidentally jabbed my thumb. I know companies are doing better with skin tones and things, but generally, skin tends to be me color, which is not. It is a very pale color for any human beings. So, it really, if you were making figures, if you're making people, it's cool to be able to blend a range of skin tones, adding different different base notes, different colors, so you can get the whole family of skin tones. Bridget, you like carding a lot. Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't do enough of it actually now. I really should do some more because it is nice if you're making animals and things. Most animals don't have a coat that's just all one color. It's got degrees of colors in it. So it is nice to do that. Do you know, I'm not hating this stuff. Not, it wouldn't be my first choice, but for a project when you can't use the regular wool, it works. I'm not hating it. I'm doing just like I do a normal wool. I can feel that it's not the same as normal wool, but it's working. It is definitely felting. This was my fear. It wasn't going to felt nicely enough, or it was going to be so different. Like maybe the needle wouldn't go through so easily, or it would take a lot more felting, which would be annoying. It would take a lot less felting, which is, strangely enough, is equally annoying. If every stab deforms it so much, then that's actually really difficult to work as well. So the fact it's taking a similar amount of work, um, I think it might be a little harder to get a real smooth surface, but as I'm going for a hairy dog, then we'll get away with it maybe being slightly lumpy. Um, but yeah, it certainly seems to it it bonds to itself. I'm going to be intrigued to see, which not going to be this week, but intrigued to see how like attaching a head to the body, because I don't use an armature, I just make a wool neck. But I think it's going to felt perfectly fine onto the body. It really feels like it comes together nicely. So yeah, it does the job. I'll check. I'll check the prices and see. Another thing that's really cool is how bright a white this is. I mean, I thought the acrylic was a bright white, but this is pure white. It's you can see my desk is white, but it doesn't look it compared to this fella. So that's a cool thing to have. It might be nice if you were like 2D felting for like a real accent, like a bright white moon, or proper white highlights. It's If you have this lying about, then that's really nice. Bridget, I'll try some vegan fiber from my vegan friends. Well, I think they would appreciate that. Absolutely. Tobias, you've used Tencel too. Yes, I think I had Tencel years ago. I'm not. I think I looked at it. This is a problem with buying stuff a few months ago and then not doing anything with it till now. I think I'd looked at Tenso, but when I saw the bio nylon and I read and it sounded a bit more environmentally less unpleasant, I decided to go with that. And I bought the acrylic just as a, well, I know this is going to felt at least, so I'll at least manage to get something. It's not my favorite, but yeah, got a lucky guess. But yes, I do remember using Tencel in the past. It's just like merino wool in particular. Yeah, I think that's what's going to be the case with all of these. I think they're, none of them are going to be as nice to use as a decent core wool, but they'll do the job. I mean, yeah, it's not the easiest to get the legs smooth, but I didn't wrap them very well either. But yeah, I could definitely have got wool a little bit smoother than this, but it's not horrific. I mean, we have in like 10 minutes, we've got a kind of shape that's holding its own. Yeah, it's going to need another half an hour of felting, but so as it would with wool, it would never be finished at this stage. So I'm not hating it. Definitely not hating it. I'm not swearing. It's pretty cool. Yeah, what other fibers have you guys used? I should have asked. Tobias has been great telling us all the fibers he's been using, but yeah, I can't remember. I think bamboo, silky bamboo was a nice fiber as a long hair, but it's very similar to these. So silky bamboo and silk, but obviously silk is kind of the opposite of vegan. But yes, everyone with the mulberry silk is lovely. Trying to remember all the things. Oh, there was for a while you used to get some really nice like recycled sari fibers that you were able to use to create into things. I can't remember who made them. They were fun. And plastic bottles and things. It's a great use. If you're going to use a plastic fiber, it might as well be a recycled one. I just stabbed my finger again. None of the red stuff, but stabbed my finger. So for some reason, either because I'm distracted or I think mainly because I was perhaps out last night for the first time in a year and a half. Didn't drink. Very good. Didn't just went out to see people I've not seen in a year and a half, and it was so nice. But I'm so tired now. It's amazing how it takes it out of you. But Alicia, Rami and did I say that right? I always think that's a food. Rami and bamboo. Cool. Yeah, bamboo's nicer. I wonder what I did with all the bamboo I'd bought in the past. I used to have lots of different fibers, and I was always like concerned if any customer wanted something, I wanted to have everything. But then over the time, I've realized that actually just having the regular. I don't think most of my tops nowadays are merino. I think they're Cordale now. Oh, Alicia, thank you. So beautiful in my photo with the angel wings. When I was out, the place I was at, everywhere now has to have Instagrammable bits. It's great marketing. But they have the name of the club in neon lights, and underneath is a glowing angel wings that you're supposed to stand in front of and get your picture taken. You put it up on Instagram, and there you go, advertising their club. But it was very cool with the angel to take a picture with beautiful angel wings glowing behind you. So yeah, we totally fell for their advertising for them. So if you're selling anything, guys, yeah, if you can do something like that, convince people to take a picture with your business name on it somehow or another and share it to the Instagram. That people are doing your advertising for free. It's great. But thank you, Alicia. That was a lovely picture a friend took for me, and I was like, yeah, definitely sharing that one. And the other bonus, because that was out in a communal area, we were still masked up, so you don't have to worry about the angle for your double chin. You don't have to smile. You look fierce. You look kick ass with a mask on, which was great fun. Okay, guys, we've done the first hour. So I think that'll do us for today. I'm forgetting forgetting words. But yeah, we're pretty much done. I'll give you a couple of minutes to say goodbyes and everything else. But yeah, I think we've done a lot better than I expected to. I say I've done better than I expected to. I'm going to be intrigued when so instead of just a quick test of something. I thought making this entire project is the best way to see how it reacts, to see if it totally annoys me, and if I manage to finish a project with it. So yeah, this isn't a tutorial. This is just literally how I make my dogs, but I'm making one of them in not the usual fabrics. Tobias, what is this Instagram of which you speak? No idea. It's something that the cool kids do. Yes, I don't. I don't. Well, I have Instagram. I put things up on it occasionally. I don't understand it at all. So I Facebooked. Right. Yeah. Alicia, thank you so much for dropping by. It's been fun. And Bridget, yeah, thanks Pam and the clan. Great to see different fibers. Hey, because you guys join me and encourage me in the daftness, this gives me a chance to do these little extra flights of fancy and to try different things. So I appreciate you for allowing me to do this kind of nonsense. Tobias, ciao. Okay, guys, have a great week, and I will see you next week. There should be at least one cool video up this week, so keep an eye out for that. Yeah, but have an awesome one, and I'll see you next week.